Yeah, thank you all. Thank you for coming to this wonderful session. This is Dan from Hash, part of the investment team, usually based in Singapore. And I'm super honored to have a really wonderful discussion with this esteemed panelist from Ishan from Glip, Ankita from Persona, and Ishank from IndieGG. So why don't we get started with introducing yourselves and the background and like what led to what led you all to Web3 and like what you're currently building. Start from maybe Ishan.
Hello. Yeah, cool. So I'm Ishan. I'm the founder of Glip. We're a Web3 game studio. Our first title is BTX Battle Extreme. It's an anime-style shooting game, live in India right now. And prior to BTX, we built a questing product for early user acquisition and playtesting of Web3 games, on top of some tools for mobile gamers. So we've done a bunch of user acquisition hacks. We've tinkered with multiple channels for acquiring Web2 gamers, Web3 gamers, and happy to be here and share our learnings.
Great. Ankita?
Hi, I'm Ankita. I'm the co-founder CEO of Persona. At Persona, we are building Web3's first native ad network. So an easy way to think of us is Google AdWords, but we are building it natively for Web3. So if you have ever run ads in Web3, you know how hard it is to acquire users through ads. And we are solving that problem. And the way we do it is we place our ads on real Web3 applications, dApps, so DEXs, Web3 games, Web3 data platform. And the idea is that we can also target on the basis of what's in the wallet. So because these ads are so targeted, the ROI and the actual acquisition that we get from these ads are like almost 20x of what you would get from other channels. We work with a lot of games. Some of our partners include Immutable and a bunch of games. On the Immutable platform, we are working with League of Kingdom, and we also work with MetaMask. So very excited to be here with this group of panelists and also Dan.
Thank you. Hi everyone. My name is Ishank Gupta. I come from a consumer community background, been building communities for the past 15 years across multiple geographies. Came into Web3 to answer Dan's question in late 2020, early 21, when everyone was talking about onboarding 1 billion users into Web3, and I was struggling to get onboarded into Web3 myself, right? It was just crazy UX, crazy UI, and I decided that a couple of my friends were working in the space. So I became an advisor with them, and one thing led to the other. Co-founded Kratos last year, Kratos Studios. We are building a distribution platform for games, both Web 2 and Web 3, but powered by something called the player reputation system, which is nothing but an aggregation of a gamer's history across different platforms on-chain, which makes it accessible for anyone who wants to partner with Kratos. Fast forward 1 year, we've acquired a brand called IndieGG in India. We've acquired a company called GG Nation in India, and we have a team in Brazil. So our primary focus markets are India and Brazil. Happy to chat more with you guys based on whatever Dan wants to talk about and share more insights around what we've learned.
Yeah, cool, great. So there's a lot of like different colors on our panel, starting from like gaming platform itself with first-party game, BTX, and a crypto like native ad marketplace, and also the crypto, the reputation system for the Web3 gaming users. So like today's like, the topic is around the effective user acquisition strategy for the Web3 gaming users. So it's indeed really important to like define who are the actual Web3 users. So basically, like not all, like as you might notice, like not all the like DeFi users or all the same groups who are buying all the NFTs and like holding NFTs and doing all the community stuffs in the NFT like community, and like likewise, like not all the type of the like Web3 users are going to be like yes, like the DeFi users or other like a subsector like of the Web3 users. So, and also like, there's going to be some of the commonalities between like Web2 gaming users, what we like call the traditional like side of the gaming users, and the Web3 gaming users. So, basically, I just wanted to like hear like what is the like definition for the Web3 users, each of yourselves, yeah, you can go first.
Cool. So I think the two types of Web3 gamers. One kind of Web3 gamers who just care about rewards, farming, token yields, all of that. And then there's the other kind of Web3 gamers. They want fun as well as earning opportunities. And there's also like a very niche segment of people who just want to like fuck around on the internet and play with on-chain games. And I think those are the most fun kind of Web3 gamers. Yeah.
Cool. Any thoughts?
I would say Web3 gamers are eventually gamers who are looking to have fun and want to play good games. Unfortunately, I think that's one thing which we are looking to build more of in the Web3 world today, which is like good games where gamers can have fun. And one characteristic of these gamers are that they have a slightly higher risk appetite. So a friend of mine today told that these Web3 gamers are actually gamers who are also very much interested in gambling. So that's how we think of Web3 gamers. Traditional gamers, Web3 gamers are not very different, just with a little bit higher risk appetite.
Yeah, I think I'll just articulate what you said a little differently. I think gamers don't care about Web 2, Web 3. I mean, people who are real gamers, they want to play a game, have fun. I think which is the same sentiment both of these guys also mentioned, right? In terms of cohorts, right, there is a gamer cohort and there is a speculator cohort. So if you had to zoom out, there are Web3 users. Some of them would be pure play speculators. Some of these are gamers who've gotten onboarded into Web3 and they've found interesting things, which we talk a lot about. A lot of those things have not manifested themselves at scale yet. For example, data ownership. For example, asset ownership, right? We can unpack those things a little more as we go on. But these are still buzzwords for a lot of people. But simply speaking, there are gamers, and gamers don't care about Web 2, Web 3, and there are speculators who find it relatively easier to play around in Web 3.
Yeah, okay, interesting. So probably you guys will have like different aspects for the next question. So probably like all of you guys will be thrilled that like Bitcoin is now like almost over like at 44, right? Yeah, so it's like the bull market is it's going back to the bull market once again. And alongside with that, like the NFT price, I mean the floor prices are rising at the same time. So do you guys think that it's like a tailwind for like the user acquisition methodologies you are deploying to the market? Like how do you think of the market situation?
I think it's a great time to develop your blockchain economy to bring in these Web3 gamers, these speculators. And if they find value, if they experience value, they will find permissionless ways to scale your game. They will talk about your game. They will engage with the community on social media. And those are great things for any game, right? And because the incentives are aligned. So whether this momentum is going to keep going up, it's going to come down, go up, I think it's a few months here and there, but great time to be developing those aspects of your game right now.
To add to that, I think it's also a great time for user acquisition. You know, there was a time a couple of months ago where things were like pretty gloomy, so it was very hard to actually get a gamer excited to look at your game, come play, and follow your journey. But it's again like one of those times where things are looking very much optimistic. So it's easier to find more people on different gaming platforms, especially like from an ads perspective. We have started to see like more people, more impressions on the ads, or more views on the ads. And at the same time, people have started to like click more, engage more, find out more. So definitely a good time. Couple of things that we have seen, especially because the market is changing so quickly. What we have learned from running so many campaigns at this point of time is that good to run shorter campaigns because the market conditions are changing so quickly. So your creatives might become outdated pretty soon because a lot of times these creatives are built on like what's current in the market. So that's one. And then second is, of course, like making these user acquisition strategies more engaging, more genuine. I think that fear of getting scammed, the fear of getting, falling into like a trap, into like a bad project, that is still there. So keeping all of this genuine while you do all of this is the advice that we give to the gaming advertisers that work with us.
Yeah. So, firstly, are we really in the bull market? I think it's too early to make
I
that
think it
announcement.
depends. Not a typical announcement, but
Yeah, I hope we don't call this a bull market just yet, right? I hope the bull market will be much better.
right, much better.
Okay, so there were two parts to your question, right? One is around whether that same trend is visible in NFTs. Did I hear that right?
Right.
Yeah. So I think people's perception of NFTs has changed significantly in the last 12 to 18 months. Meaning, there was a whole phase of PFPs, right? Which is nothing but using your NFT as a profile picture, right? I remember what was the top price of the BAYC, guys? It reached almost 3 million? Yeah, maybe a little more, right? It was just absurdly crazy. And right now, those guys are talking to everyone in the world who will listen on what game they can make, right? So I think there is a conceptual shift that has happened in terms of NFTs. I believe that NFTs that are core to the game itself will have a role to play, like you mentioned. I believe that pure play hype-based NFTs might come back again. That's the unfortunate reality of the crypto space or the Web3 space,
Right.
where somebody mentioned a term to me recently, pumpermental. You know, like not fundamentals,
Right,
pumpermentals,
pumpermentals.
which is basically how much can you pump your project, and unfortunately that's the reality, right? That is going to stick around. But your question is a very tough one, and there is no clear answer. But as of today, I don't see NFTs just rallying because the market is rallying. And I believe that the reason behind that is that gamers and overall users are more conscious that if the NFTs don't have a utility by design, they might be worthless after the bull cycle is over.
Yeah, all right, that makes sense. So, yeah, so back to more like explicit like questions. So like, why don't you just introduce like how does each of your project really accelerates those like user acquisition for like say like to acquire like billion users in the future. So, like how I mean like what like which points should be like the gaming studios and the gamers should be excited to like work with you and like go to your like website and go to your application to engage with like. What will be the key factors for that?
Right. So right now, we've been focusing on getting Web 2 gamers to Web 3. And being in India, one of the biggest markets is shooters. Shooters also like a super massive market globally, like 3 billion downloads last year as per Navik. And how do you get those? And these are like gamers who spend a lot of money, right? All over the world, US, Japan, Saudi, India, Brazil, Thailand. How do you get them to Web3? And since we've been in a bear market and people are not going to care much about free tokens, so you have to make the game fun, right? So we've been working on making an amazing, fun game which attracts these Web2 gamers. And we introduce them to Web3 concepts, to play to earn, staking, crafting, etc. through later, like once they enjoy the game and they want to engage further with the game. And you need to keep the UX very simple for them. So you need to give them a Web 2 UX. The technologies are available right now where you just log in with your Google ID, you get a self-custody wallet, and you can interact with the chain. Your gas fees costs are going down. You have multiple app chain technologies available. So all of that happening, I think it's a great, like if, as a game, for us, we believe we are a great gateway for these millions of Web 2 shooters into Web 3.
All right.
So at Persona, our strategy was kind of flipped from what Ishan was talking about. For us, the first go-to-market to get more gamers was to put ads on Web3 games, like existing Web3 games. And why would a Web3 game care about it? A Web3 advertiser care about it is obvious, right? They are getting access to Web3 gamers. We make sure that we put ads on like legit games, games where the players are engaged, games where they aren't too many distracting ads. We put like high quality ads which are not distracting. And the result is that your ads are seen by actual Web3 gamers, and because they're already Web3, they have a wallet, they understand how NFTs work, they understand how NFT trading, buying, all of it work. That entire process of like them seeing an ad and then coming to your website and then signing up using a wallet and then playing your game, that becomes a bit easier compared to acquiring somebody net new, like a Web2 gamer. So that's how we started, and we saw some really great results in terms of conversions, in terms of ROI, in terms of how many new gamers we were able to bring. Now, of course, that was one part of the strategy, which worked really well. And now to expand on that, we are actually now building that on-ramp from Web2 to Web3 game, something similar to what Ishan was talking about. And the model is going to be the same, essentially putting ads on different games, game discovery platform, and then the idea is that you're able to acquire these gamers and on-ramp them to your game very, very easily. So you should definitely visit our website and find some case studies there as to like how we are enabling this. But that's pretty much what we have been up to.
Cool.
Nice plug. Yes. It's persona.ai.
3.io.
Oh, so sorry. Persona3.io. Okay. No, jokes apart, what do we do? So we help games across various stages of their life cycle, right? So if a game is under development in alpha or beta, they can reach out to us for something called testing, right? Game testing. Typically, games go to QA companies when they have to get 500,000 testers. But when they want 5,000, 10,000 testers to concurrently come in and play, it could be load testing, whatever. We have a community-led testing product. That's one of the first things that we do. The second thing that we do is we do gamified user acquisition. I can talk more about it, but very simply put, it's about converting progression inside a game into a leaderboard, which reduces the effective CAC for the game. The third thing is more related to engagement, which is grassroots tournaments, which are done by the community for the community. And then the last bit is something called user-generated content quests, right? So in many ways, it's a modified version of what you might have seen as a questing platform across Web3. A lot of those exist. But these focus more on deep in-game engagement rather than just top-of-the-funnel user acquisition. So that's what we do. All of this leads to a bunch of data when games engage with gamers across 5 main cohorts: proof of human, proof of play, proof of skill, proof of commerce, and proof of social network. Based on these data points, games can target whichever gamers are most relevant to them, and that's how we help them reduce their effective CAC.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, great answer for all of you guys. So basically, I also wanted to hear about pretty much all of you guys were building since this, as you mentioned, we didn't know we were moving towards a bull market. If it's a start of the bull market yet, but still, yeah, you guys are all building from the bear. So probably there's going to be some of the hardships you guys might have noticed while building. Yeah, so some of the frictions in the market since a lot of the users were leaving since the prices were momentums were not really good at the moment. So I just wanted to hear what was the biggest hardship you all confronted for the last a few months or so, a year from now, and how did you mitigate the problems? Each of you have probably this time starting from Ishank.
Okay. Good question. Okay, so let me give you two simple answers to that question, right? One from a macro standpoint and one as a small case study almost, right? At a macro standpoint, I would say that the rate of, or rather the pace of game development slowed down quite a bit in the last 1 year, and I think that's simply due to access to capital, right? A lot of the capital, I'm sure you've all seen memes on Twitter around founders pivoting from crypto to AI and now back to crypto, right? I mean, the side effect of that meme was the fact that truly there was not enough money coming into Web3 gaming during this period. So a lot of game teams were very conscious of the rate of development, right, of their own game. So that led to a lot of delays. So simply put, the answer to your question is reduced pace of game development, which led to reduced opportunities for gamers to try new games, right? From a gamer lens, the problems were a little different, right? If I put myself in the shoes of a gamer, the problem was games were still coming out with, let me call it crypto native UX, where you have to connect your wallet to enter the game. And you talked about bringing Web2 gamers into Web3, so mass adoption would just not happen, right? I mean, even today, if somebody tells me that, hey, you will need the gamer to have a MetaMask ID to log into the game, I tell them, great, then you should change your target from 100,000 to 10,000, right? Because you're not going to get more than 10,000 users a day connecting MetaMask wallet, right? Other thing was, there was a lot of unoptimization, or is that a right word? Unoptimized games? I don't know if that's correct. Doesn't matter. But this game came to us. Hey, you need every gamer to download 90 GB on a PC that needs to have the top-end graphic card. And obviously, you need to connect with MetaMask. Then you need to bridge across 2 chains, get the token to get into the game. And I need 100,000 players next week, right? I mean, I don't know if there's somebody who can do that. But if you do come across somebody who can get 100,000 users to do that, do let us know. Yeah, so those were the sort of things that we were battling in the last 1 year. A lot of those things will hopefully change in this year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo some of the things that Ishan said and some other things that we faced. Of course, building in bear market is hard. You have burn happening every month, and you have to show revenue to your investors, so that pressure is always there. Some of the things that became harder in the bear market, of course, like we are two-sided networks, so we have to work with advertisers, and then we have to work with publishers. So just to quickly explain, advertisers are essentially anybody who advertise with us, and publishers are where our ads are placed. Now, I'll explain what were the different challenges quickly on both the sides. On advertiser, of course, the biggest challenge was the budget. A lot of advertisers didn't have budget in the market. A lot of games were still being built. Those cycles were delayed because of so many reasons, right? So the lack of budget was real. That was the biggest one. And then, of course, because there weren't many gamers, active gamers in the market, even when people had budget, to show them that kind of like returns in the market, like 1,000 people clicking and coming on their game every day, that was very hard because there weren't 1,000 gamers active on any platform at certain points during the year, right? There were very few active gamers. So, performance of the ads, being able to optimize on the budget, all of it was very difficult. Now, on the publisher side, again, it was equally difficult because there weren't many games where we could put our ads on, because there weren't many games that were ready to show ads and that had actual gamers who would engage with the ad. So both the sides were like struggling. And at the same time, there were certain like expectations in the market in terms of performance. So I don't know how many of you have heard of airdrop hunters. But those are the people we fear the most as advertisers, because they will click on anything and everything that reward you, but they won't stick. And a lot of games in the market, not just games, I think any Web3 brand, they're used to these kind of users coming in, in thousands of numbers every day, just coming for rewards and all of that. And they started to have similar expectations with like real ads, which are shown to real gamers. So those expectations, they were like misaligned. So we had to do a lot of education to help them understand the difference between the two types of audience and why they should like not go for necessarily just like focus on certain types of acquiring certain types of users. So yeah, so those were some of the things that we continue to face. Of course, things are much better. Things are beginning to get better, and we hope that this continues. But it was fun. We learned a lot, and we would do this all over again if need be. So yeah.
So the first Web3 product that we launched was a live NFT product. So let's say you're streaming on Twitch, some moment happens, you hit a hotkey, the last 60 seconds clip drops as an NFT. People can place auctions. Those auction bids come on stream. So there's some engagement. And finally, someone wins the bid, gets a shout out from the streamer. And then the NFT holders can play different kinds of audio-visual effects on Twitch. It was a pretty cool product, first of its kind globally. And we were also working with a lot of American, Korean streamers. Some of these NFTs went for like $100, $200. Whichever NFT was dropped, creators were earning from those NFTs. And they would get 90% of the earnings as compared to 50% from Twitch. And each of them had their individual collection on OpenSea. So we were like, wow, this is such an amazing product. Maybe the games are not ready to bring in the Web2 gamers, but the creators are there, they're engaging every day. And the platforms are not paying them enough and not letting them do a bunch of other things. So maybe we have a solution over here. And then we were pushing that, and then the Terra crash happened, the FTX crash happened, and creators like famous gamers like XQC, Tariq, they started cheating on NFTs like more vocally. So it was a bad time to like push NFTs in the streaming community. So that was a setback, and then we had to pivot from that to questing. And so while we were doing that, we got noticed by a bunch of Web3 games, and we had like 1 million monthly actives on our previous product, where we were like, most of these are like small, mid-sized creators, and like people wanted to leverage that to bring gamers into their Web3 games. So we built a questing platform. You have like you can run different types of quests, different types of rewards. You can mix Amazon gift card and tokens and all of that. Built that out, hustled to get like 50+ game partners. But again, the problem was that these games were not interesting to our users, either because they weren't fun or they had performance issues. And it's important to solve for performance in emerging markets like India when you're working on when you're playing on low-spec mobile phones. So we did that for a bit, and then we were like, okay, one more pivot. And we pivoted a bunch of times throughout our journey. And my co-founders actually shut a crypto startup before the previous run also. That was because it was banned by India. So we've seen a bunch of these things in our careers. So then we were like, okay, fuck it, we'll build a game. Now, we'll build a fun game, and then we are not dependent on anyone, and we'll just build an amazing game. We have this community, and the kind of game that we are building, usually studios start out with like $10 to $15 million to build a AAA mid-core mobile shooter game. But we didn't have that kind of capital. We had some capital, but we had a great community of shooters from our previous product. And we had, like everyone in the team was pumped up. Most of us are like shooters, playing shooters since Doom, Wolf days. So we were like pumped to build it out. And I think like now we see that all of these things were a great opportunity to focus on what we really wanted to do, because like then your judgment is not clouded by what other people are doing, because nothing is working for other people anyways.
Yeah, okay, like I do really respect all of you guys, like building in such like hectic condition. Like it's really, I think, really a first principle to move really fast in this nascent market. Like launch really different type of the projects. If it's not really, the previous one is not really working. Yeah, we talked a lot about the hardships, and yeah, we're, I think, now pretty much running out of time, so we can just go with the pretty much like optimistic view of like all of you guys of like 2024, like regarding your like project roadmap, or like generally, like your 2 cents on the market, like the general like Web3 gaming market and stuff. Like, you can just choose in between both.
Sure. So I think the first thing is that, because you just mentioned it, right? We're back to the bull in many ways. So interestingly, I got a call from, I will not name the investor, but I got a call from them last night. Bro, Bitcoin's at 44K. Should I start buying again? I'm like, bro, what is wrong with you? How can you be such a bad tourist, right? But jokes apart, that means there are early signs of capital coming back, right? And obviously that guy will not invest, but I'm sure that if he's thinking that way, there are a lot of people thinking in that direction. So capital will start coming back. A lot of games got money 2 years ago, so they are almost done with their development. So a lot more games, including the game our friend Ishan was talking about, a lot of games are going to come out. Games are not blind to all the problems that we've discussed on this stage, right? Games also are aware of these problems. So a lot of new games that are coming out are also going to be solving a lot of these problems. So I, for one, I'm extremely optimistic about gaming and the role of blockchain in gaming. I think the previous panel covered that in more detail, right? But very simply put, I think 2024 is going to be a big year for gaming, big year for Web3 gaming. And as a result, for everyone who is working in the space, I think we should all be super optimistic about the next 12 months and maybe longer.
Yeah, very excited about the next 12 months. Very excited. So, like, we were discussing bear market, I'm still not saying was because it's still not gone, but it's great for building. And I know personally a lot of great games being built. So now those games are actually getting launched. So looking forward to seeing a lot of new games coming up. Excited about the fact that a lot of these games have started to talk less about decentralization and the technology and the NFTs, and they have started to talk more about, okay, we are building a great game and people will play it because it's a great game. So yeah, looking forward to real games, real users, and definitely bigger budgets for ads.
Super optimistic about the next run because we'll have fun games and new token models. So a lot of money, a lot of fun, and finally I think gamers, Web2 gamers, they're like super hard consumers, right? They're consuming amazing content, and they can be very toxic as well. So finally, I'm very hopeful that we'll have products which will appeal to them and bring them into this whole transformation of moving from fiat rails to crypto rails and unlocking new GameFi concepts. So once their brains start coming into the whole ecosystem, there's going to be a lot of madness, both from like storytelling, content, as well as new token models.
Yeah, thanks for the time. Yeah, Ishan, Ishank, Ankita, and all of you like having attention for the whole session. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, folks. My lovely audience.